hey, Willie Mays. Willie Mays left us yesterday. Uh, got the news as soon as I got off an airplane, landing oddly enough at San Francisco International Airport. We call it SFO. And currently, 1 nautical mile that way is the home of the Giants, whatever that ballpark is called these days. So, kind of fitting that I'm here in San Francisco, looking at the ballpark, looking out way out in the distance. If you could look through that clump of trees out there, I could see where Willie used to play in Candlestick Park. And I have full. Hey, Brent, how are you, man? I have a full-on confession to make here, and essentially the only reason I'm kind of making a tribute here to Willie is because of the very first baseball card I ever saw in my life was a 1973 Topps Willie Mays in the Mets uniform, and I told the story in the past how that there was a huge box that sat on my front porch while we moved from the city to the suburbs. The box, of course, belonging to my older brothers, full of baseball cards. Time only knows when that box first started filling up, but on the top of that box was a 1973 Willie Mays. There were thousands of cards in that box. Box never made it into our house. So it made it from the city to the suburbs, but never made it from the porch to inside the house. Mom threw it away, as moms do. What's up, Mark? How are you? And my most vivid memory of my very first baseball card, though, will always be that 73 Willie Mays. And again, as we're confessing here, when I say we, I mean me, never quite gave Willie Mays enough credit until probably the last couple of years. I always say that Hank Aaron was the greatest hitter in my lifetime. I can kind of stick to that because Willie kind of fell off a cliff in 1967. And I, of course, was gifted to the world in 1968. So here we are. Anyway, Hank Aaron had a career that, of course, lasted well into the 70s, 1976 to be exact. His cards were present. Of course, the 74 Home Run King was a big card for people of my age. But Willie always kind of took a back seat in my mind, which is easy when he was way out in San Francisco and his peak was before I was born. But I will say that, coupled with the fact that I also didn't like a lot of the Willie Mays cards, and he wasn't, and I continued to insist he wasn't very photogenic. It doesn't mean that I didn't eventually come around and consider him. I do consider him probably the greatest all-around baseball player in baseball history. I always say that he probably was given the most talent, and in turn, he's one of those rare athletes that got by or used most of the talent he was given. We all know that athletes get to a certain level, they're extremely talented, but Willie Mays took it to another level by um, actually executing at that high level on all cylinders. Again, not the most photogenic chap, but sure did leave a long list of cards. I have probably 100, and it says 161 here, but that's a lie because I also put in some of the cards that I need to complete my sets. So I probably have the high 150s of Willie Mays cards. The red ones here are cards I need for sets. Of course, 1953 Topps, 59 Topps, All-Star, and his highlights card, I guess, from 59. I do have his regular 59 card, and I do have the Willie Mays, Richie Ashburn, NL Hitting Kings card. Missing a couple of the 1960s, 1960s, I mean. But I do have quite a few of those old cards there. My oldest card, as I like to say, is the 1956 card number 31, Hank Aaron, with the Willie Mays sliding in there. But I also have the 56 regular Willie Mays. hard to tell what my favorite Willie Mays card is. I will tell you what my least favorite one is, and that is the 1961. 1961, even Ernie Banks almost looked unpresentable, but Willie just looks like he's in a different world in that picture. I'll say this again about Willie Mays: great talent, great hitter, great fielder, great base runner. But unlike Jackie Robinson, it seemed like Willie Mays kind of rose above the hurdles that were constantly presented to him. Of course, he played in the Negro Leagues in Birmingham and came from the Deep South, probably the first of that whole cluster of brilliant Alabama players like Hank Aaron and Willie McCovey and Billy Williams, and even Ozzie Smith was born in Alabama. But man from the Deep South kind of seemed like he was above all that nonsense. And I think that has to be respected as well. Jackie, of course, walked the path nobody else did, but Willie decided to go a different path. And he was outspoken. He did commercial endorsements. He did TV shows. He just didn't. He just did his own thing. He wasn't. He didn't. He didn't. He didn't toe the line. So I think that has to be respected as well. Silver Fox is here. 73 World Series didn't do Willie any favors. If you look at those stats, Mark, he didn't have a very good, like I said, late 60s, early 70s, and didn't play in too many games in the 73 season, I think, right? I think he played for like 63 games for the Mets. And of course, his 1974 Topps is his last, in theory, his last playing days cards, even though it came out a year after he retired. But it shows him in the World Series. See if I can bring that up. Legendary card there, checking a swing against the Oakland A's in Oakland, Game 2, New York 1, 10-7. What do we have to say about Willie on the back? Anything? Let's see here. I can't read this card. Said Willie Mays went 1 for 2 in that game. Scored a run, popped out once. Oddly, they don't have RBIs on there, which blows me away that they have assists and errors and putouts, but no runs or other pertinent information that you'd want to see in a box score. So anyway, that's that. Willie did win his World Series. Willie did participate in quite a few World Series. I always find it fascinating that those teams of the early 60s, the Giants, didn't do better than they did. They had Juan Marichal, they had Gaylord Perry, probably one or two other pitchers that I'm forgetting, but they had Cepeda, they had McCovey at their peak. So underachievers, perhaps. They didn't make it to a World Series. I think they probably lost to the Yankees, perhaps. Maybe I'm wrong there, but could have done better. And Willie, I always say, imagine Willie Mays had he spent his whole career in the Polo Grounds. Okay, some would say he would have been robbed of some of his power, but those short porches in right and left field certainly didn't hurt the cause either. But either way, an open air, pre-enclosed Candlestick Park, from what I see from old footage, was not a fun place to play, whether it's fielding or hitting. So I'm sure the marine layer out there, and I'm looking right at it right now. It's so cool. You can see the bay from where I'm at. But anyway, I'm sure that had a lot to do with his numbers not being as great as they were, even though he hit 660 home runs, more than 3,000 hits, all that fun stuff. But he probably would have been, I imagine, 10% better if he had played in a more friendly baseball field. So anyway, Willie Mays, run free there in the Polo Grounds if you want. Run free in Candlestick if you want. Thanks for being you. Thanks for kind of turning this old boy around and his opinions of you. And thank you for a long legacy of trading cards and wonderful memories on the diamond for many, many people. I know the baseball world, it's rare that the baseball world feels this so deeply across enemy lines, whether you're Yankees fans, whether you're Dodgers fans, everybody's kind of feeling it. So that's tribute to the legacy of this man, who again wasn't the most photogenic, but sure did leave his mark on our hobby. I'm looking at that 71 tops right now, Mark Hoyle. And anyway, I've come around on Willie Mays. Thankfully, that happened prior to his expiration, but I'm on board Willie Mays. Nobody in baseball has ever done what he's done, and probably the best the game has ever seen. Certainly played in the golden era, in the Golden League, the National League of the 50s and 60s, with, like I said, Koufax, Marichal was on his team, but Ernie Banks and Willie McCovey and Hank Aaron, all those players from the 50s and 60s, tremendous, tremendous contribution to the game. So that's about it. Willie, see you on the other side, sir. Thanks. Bye.